Hey, Travis Blue back here in the kitchen, and today we're talking about beef tenderloin. Now, if you get in a steakhouse, it goes by its fancier name of filet mignon because they've taken the time to cut it into steaks, and you're, paying for the whole experience. But at home, we call it tenderloin because we cook it as a roast, and most of the time it comes from the supermarket in a vacuum sealed bag like this, or if you get it from the butcher counter, you get it wrapped in paper. If you get it from the butcher counter, though, have them trim it. But I'm going to show you how to trim it, how to break it up into pieces, sear it, roast it in the oven, so it'll be perfect, rare, and delicious. Okay, I've removed it from the package, padded dry with paper towels, and so let's start trimming. All right, all this white you're seeing here isn't necessarily fat. It's a membrane called silver skin, and it doesn't break down when you cook it. So it's much better if you cut it off because you'll get a much more even cook, you'll get better sear on the outside, and it'll just be better to eat. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the edges, and we're going to just peel it off with our knife and with our hands until we get a nice, even red surface. Make sure you get the knife under there, peel up, and just start cutting. You want a good sharp knife. A smaller knife might be better. Bigger knife can be a little unwieldy here, but just start cutting, and then the pieces will start coming off. And don't save them. They're really not worth saving. Sometimes you get your finger under there, and you just sort of run it under there. It'll come up. The membrane will just peel right off. You just get it started with your knife, but it'll just come right up. You just keep going. The meat will tell you where the borders are of the membrane. You just start sliding your knife along it. The obvious ones we got, the big white silver skin, you get those pieces off. And if you get those off and you want to stop, hey, that's good. You've done a great job. Honestly, if you just want to throw it in without trimming it and roast it, it's going to be good. But this way, it's a much better eating experience, the way it slices, the way it cooks up, because we're going to tie it up in some twine and sear it in a pan. And it'll just be really good. I'm telling you. Huh? Yeah? You like the beefs? Yeah? All right, so when you're cutting this stuff, there's all these membranes, there's fat, stuff like that. You just kind of have to go with whatever cut of meat you get. This one ended up having one sort of main piece and then some smaller pieces. I've had some before that came out in like 2 even pieces and then like a little straggler. It's hard to know until you open it. But don't feel bad about that because this is going to be great. Like this piece here, this is going to be great. It's going to roast up awesome. And these, I think what I'm going to do is honestly just sear them off in the pan along with that one and just eat them. It's going to be good. If you don't want to trim it up this much, you don't have to. But I think there's 3 things that you should absolutely do. You should let it come up to temperature on the counter, like take it out of the fridge. You should salt it. And you should not overcook it. So use a thermometer, time it a little. If you don't have a thermometer, then make sure you time it to where it's, 20 minutes per pound or whatever, but like err on the side of, rare, because that way you can always, if you want a little more done, you can put it back in, but once it's overcooked, it's gone. And you gotta put it in soup or something, because I'm not gonna eat that. All right, so just salt it liberally all over. All sides, get the ends. Flip it over. Make sure you get this one too. And the little pieces. Okay, now we've salted it. We're gonna let it rest on the counter for an hour, like we said. Then I'm gonna tie it up with twine and sear it. Now this is simple kitchen twine. I think I got this at Bed Bath & Beyond or something years ago. It's cheap. It lasts a long time. And it has a lot of uses when you're cooking. I mean, I use it with chickens when I'm going to tie the legs together when I'm roasting a chicken. And with meat like tenderloin, I like to tie it up with twine. It helps to keep its shape while it's cooking. So it gives that nice round, fillet feel. If you have a butcher or someone at, a butcher counter that can tie it up for you, by all means, have them do it. Because, they've got a method and they've got the little knots and slip, all that stuff. But you can do it too. It's easy. And it's kind of fun. So I'll show you this part too. Put the pepper on. Okay, so I've tied it up with the twine, and so we've got our pretty piece here. You know, that's gonna cook up really nice. And then just for fun, I tied up this little piece, mostly because I just want to see what will happen. By the way, when you're cooking this little piece, remember, it's smaller. It's going to cook faster. So I'm saying that to remind myself. So like if I sear this off and put it in the oven for, I may not even put it in the oven. I may just sear it and let it sit. But we'll see. For searing, I'm just going to use a 12-inch stainless steel skillet. It's going to sear nice and hot evenly, and then I'm going to put it right into the oven. Just remember to use the hot pads. Gotta go. And while it's cooking the skillet, and just make sure it's brown on all sides. And if you pull it up and it's still a little gray or it's not brown enough, first make sure your pan is hot enough because you want it to be pretty hot. But if you pull it up and it just needs more browning, just let it brown more on the other side. It's all right. And make sure you get the ends. You got to tilt it up. You have to hold it there for a while. That's okay. You want to get browning on all sides, especially in the ends too. That way you get that good texture, Okay, so all this beautiful meat is seared. Got a nice browning all over, on all pieces, little ones and the big one. Changed my mind, I'm gonna put it on a sheet pan and put it in the oven, 350, 10 minutes. After that, actually after 5 minutes, I'll probably take out these two. Maybe this one for 10, but this one, 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna turn it with the tongs, cook it for another 5, and then kind of check it. Programming note, I had a meat thermometer, and I just tested it and it was broken. So this is the kind of thing that will happen in your kitchen sometimes. But you know what? You'll get through it. You can just kind of test the meat, because right now it's rare, the way it's kind of like jelly, kind of moves like jelly. But like right there, you see that? It's a little soft. So I want that to be just a little bit firmer, and then it'll be delicious. And this little beauty here, well, I decided to eat it. Oh man, this is gonna be good. All right, timer's gone off. I did a total of 20 minutes for the large piece. I did 10 on one side, and then I turned it, and then I put it in for 10 more. The little pieces I took out at 10 minutes. They're great, by the way. So let's take it out. All right, looks really good. Just, oh yeah, we got a good dew on it. So what I'm going to do is transfer it to the cutting board and let it rest for another 10 minutes. I can't stress this enough. When you're cooking beef or you're cooking chicken, if you take it out of the oven, let it rest. All those juices redistribute. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Just if you could wait, 10 minutes, you'll thank yourself. But while it's resting, you know what to do. See you in 10. You can take the string off after it's rested for 10 minutes. I would just cut the string off. That way when you're cutting, you're not going to cut into string. If you forget, it's not a big deal. The knife will cut it, you'll get it off anyway. But just remember that. Got my carving knife. Let's cut and see how we did. And look how we did, everybody. Look at that. It's cooked all the way through, a good medium rare. Did it without my, without my thermometer. That was a scary moment, but I knew I could do it, and you can do it too. Oh, delicious. Perfect. Hope this video helps you make a better tenderloin at home. There we go, testing the little guy. Let's see how this turned out. I only cooked it for 10 minutes, so we'll see. All right, here we go. Hey, look at that. Look at that. So I did not set out to make a tenderloin, and it's mini-me. But it appears that that's what I did. And they're both great. So if you have the odd pieces, don't worry about it. Just cook the small pieces for a short amount of time, and you get the same result. Toby's licking the floor. I dropped some meat juice. It's Toby. He does what he wants. All right. So give us a like and a follow, and come back for more. Sign up, Toby. Yeah, it's good.